I never imagined I'd be the one to unravel my own marriage. My name is Emma Thompson, I'm 32, and I'm sitting alone in a house that echoes with silence, piecing together how a single careless moment shredded everything I took for granted. This is my story, a messy human tale of love, regret, and learning too late what really matters. I've always been the spark in the room. At 32, I've got sharp green eyes that catch the light, chestnut hair I usually twist into a messy bun, and a laugh that fills spaces. I'm a marketing executive, high energy, ambitious, the kind of person who thrives on late nights and bold pitches. My life looks polished from the outside, a 2-story house with a wraparound porch in a sleepy suburb, a career I fought for, and a husband who'd weather any storm for me. But inside, I'm restless, always chasing the horizon, itching for something bigger than the cul-de-sac I call home. My husband Alex is 35. He's got warm brown eyes that crinkle when he smiles, dark hair that's a touch too long, curling at the nape of his neck, and a quiet steadiness that balances my chaos. He's an accountant, methodical, reliable, the guy who keeps our bills paid and our lives tethered. Alex finds joy in the small stuff, tinkering with his vintage Nikon camera, hiking the trails near our house with a thermos of coffee, or curling up with a dog-eared sci-fi novel on rainy evenings. He's not the loudest guy in the room, doesn't need to be. His love is quiet but deep, shown in the way he leaves me notes on the fridge or fixes the leaky sink without me asking. We met 7 years ago at a friend's wedding. I was the maid of honor, a little buzzed on champagne, delivering a speech that had the crowd roaring, half improvised, all heart. Alex was in the back, a guest I didn't know, watching with this shy, lopsided smile. Later, he found me by the dessert table, stammering as he said, "That was the best speech I've ever heard." I laughed, teased him about his crooked tie, and we ended up talking until the staff started stacking chairs. He was different from the guys I'd dated, artists and adrenaline junkies who burned bright and fizzled fast. Alex was steady, thoughtful, a guy who listened more than he spoke. After years of chaos, his calm felt like coming home. 2 years later, we married in a small backyard ceremony, promising to be each other's anchor. For a while it worked. I'd barrel through life, new job, new ideas, and he'd be there, grounding me. But as the years piled up, that anchor started to chafe. I'd sit on our porch at dusk, the air thick with honeysuckle, watching fireflies blink and feel this gnawing ache, like I was wasting my 30s on routine. I wanted to hop a plane to Morocco, quit my job to write a travel blog, paint my nails electric blue just to feel alive. Alex would listen to my wild ideas, nodding patiently, then say, "Let's budget for it," or "How about next spring?" I'd roll my eyes thinking, where's the thrill in that? He was the guy who checked tire pressure before a road trip or suggested we sock away extra cash, just in case. I loved him. God, I did. But sometimes I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling fan's slow spin, wondering if I'd tethered myself too soon, if a bolder life was out there waiting. I'm loud, impulsive, the life of every party. I blurt out what's on my mind, usually with a grin, and people eat it up, except when it stings. Alex took my teasing in stride, my jabs about his grandpa sweaters or his obsession with organizing the spice rack. He'd chuckle when I called him boring for wanting to watch a documentary instead of hitting a bar, but lately I'd started leaning on him too hard, expecting him to catch me every time I leapt without a net. I didn't mean to take him for granted. It just crept in, slow and unnoticed, like dust settling on a shelf. It was a muggy Saturday in July, the kind where the air clings to your skin and cicadas hum in the trees. We were hosting a barbecue in our backyard, fairy lights strung across the pergola, charcoal smoke curling up, a playlist of summer anthems drifting from the speaker. About 20 people milled around, my work friends in their trendy sundresses, Alex's college buddies with craft beers, a few neighbors chatting by the picnic table. The picnic table was groaning under potato salad chips and a watermelon I'd hacked into uneven chunks. I was in my element. 2 glasses of rosé warming my blood, cheeks flushed as I darted between groups. I refilled drinks, cracked jokes about Lisa's terrible taste in music, and basked in the buzz of laughter. Alex was at the grill, wearing his faded blue apron with a cartoon burger on it, flipping patties with quiet focus. Every so often, he'd glance over, his eyes softening as he watched me shine. He loved seeing me like this. Center stage, electric, even if he stayed on the edges. Lisa, my coworker with a blonde bob and a travel obsession, was raving about her upcoming trip. Bali, 2 weeks, she said, gesturing with her drink, ice clinking. Beaches, rice paddies, temples, I'm counting the days. My pulse quickened. Bali? That sounds like paradise. I've been dying to go somewhere like that. Somewhere raw, where you can feel the world under your feet. Alex caught it from the grill, calling over with a grin. We could do Bali next year, Em. Save up, make it a big trip. His voice was warm, practical, threading through the chatter. I laughed, a sharp, tipsy burst that cut the air. Next year? Alex, you always say next year. When do we ever just go somewhere wild? You're too busy crunching numbers or triple-checking flights. The backyard stilled, forks paused mid-bite, conversations faltered. Alex's smile slipped, his spatula hovering over the grill. We went to Hawaii last year, he said, keeping it light. That was nice, wasn't it? I smirked, rolling my eyes, the wine loosening my tongue. Hawaii's fine, but it's not an adventure, is it? It's all resorts and Mai Tais. Sometimes I feel like you're holding me back from really living, Alex. I want risks, not spreadsheets. The words landed like a stone in a pond, ripples spreading. The grill hissed, grease popping, crickets chirped. Into the silence, I froze, the weight of it sinking in and forced a laugh. Kidding, babe. You know I love you. But Alex wasn't laughing. His face drained of color, and he set the spatula down with a soft clink on the metal tray. Without a word, he turned and walked inside, the screen door banging shut behind him. The party staggered. People mumbled about needing ice or more napkins, avoiding my gaze. I stood there, heart thudding, the rosé turning sour in my stomach. He'll get over it, I said to no one, pasting on a grin, but it felt flimsy, a lie I couldn't sell. Inside, I found Alex in the kitchen, hands braced on the counter, knuckles white against the granite. He didn't look up. The air smelled faintly of burgers and dish soap, the hum of the fridge loud in the quiet. Alex, why'd you ditch? I leaned against the doorway, aiming for playful like I was coaxing a sulky kid. He didn't answer, his shoulders rigid. I frowned, stepping closer. Hey, what's wrong? Talk to me. He took a slow, shuddering breath and turned. His eyes were glassy, but his voice was steady. Emma, do you really think I'm holding you back? I sighed, throwing my hands up. It was a joke, Alex. You're overreacting. But you said it. He stepped toward me, searching my face. In front of everyone, like I'm some weight dragging you down. I crossed my arms, defensive. It wasn't like that. You're acting like I stabbed you. It felt like it, he said, his voice low. I've spent years trying to make you happy, supporting your job, fixing this house, planning trips with you, and you tell everyone I'm holding you back? My temper flared. Maybe if you weren't so cautious all the time, I wouldn't feel that way. You're always let's wait or let's save. I just want to do something, Alex. So I'm boring, he said, the word flat, final. No. I softened my tone, reaching for him. I love you, okay? But sometimes I wish we'd take more chances together. What's wrong with wanting that? He shook his head, staring past me at the dark window. I've never stopped you from anything, Emma. I've tried to keep up, even when it's not my thing. But if you think I'm the problem, maybe we've got bigger issues than one night. My stomach twisted. What are you saying? He met my eyes, raw and quiet. Maybe I'm not the guy you need. Maybe you'd be happier with someone who can give you that wildlife you're chasing. Panic surged. Alex, don't be ridiculous. It was one stupid comment. But he turned away, shoulders slumped, and I felt a crack splinter through us, a fracture I couldn't unsee. I stormed back outside, pulse hammering, the party limping along like a wounded animal. The fairy lights flickered, casting jagged shadows. I grabbed another glass of wine, forced a smile, ignored the sideways glances. He's overreacting, I told myself, swirling the pink liquid. He'll cool off by morning. But Sunday dawned gray and tense. Alex sat at the kitchen table, coffee steaming, his face closed off. I tried teasing. Grudge much? But he barely glanced up, stirring his mug with a clink of the spoon. The silence stretched, thick as fog, through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He moved through the house like a ghost, short answers, no eye contact, no warmth. It drove me up the wall. By Wednesday night, I'd had enough. I plopped onto the couch beside him, where he sat flipping through a photography magazine. "Okay, Alex, enough with the silent treatment. I said I was sorry at the barbecue." He closed the magazine slowly, deliberately. "Did you mean it?" "What?" "The apology. Did you mean it, or are you just tired of me being mad?" I groaned, exasperated. "Of course I meant it. It was dumb. I was tipsy. It slipped out. You're making this a huge deal." "Didn't you?" His calm sliced deeper than shouting. "You've been restless for months, Emma. Maybe that joke was truer than you think." I sat up, bristling. "Oh, so you're a mind reader now? I'm sorry I hurt you, but you're blowing this up. You're too sensitive." "Sensitive," he repeated, like it was a bruise he pressed. "Maybe, or maybe I'm tired of feeling like I'm not enough for you." "That's not fair," I snapped, my throat tightening. "I never said that." He stood looming over me. "Maybe not, but I need space to think." He headed upstairs, leaving me fuming and unsteady. "He'll get over it," I told myself, curling into the couch cushions. He always did, after I forgot his birthday when I dented the car and laughed it off. But this time, doubt gnawed at me, a whisper I couldn't shake. The next week was a slow bleed. Alex slept in the guest room, his toothbrush and razor migrating there like silent deserters. He'd leave for work before I woke, come home late, drift past me with a curt, "Hey." The house felt hollow, the air heavy with unsaid things. I hated it, the distance, the quiet, but I didn't know how to fix it without admitting I was wrong. And I wasn't. Was I? Friday, I decided to try. I made his favorite, chicken parmesan, the kitchen filling with the rich scent of garlic and marinara. I set the table with candles, their flames dancing in the dim light, and put on a playlist of songs from our early days, soft acoustic stuff we'd swayed to in our first apartment. When he walked in, tie loose and eyes tired, I smiled. "Smells good," he said, but his voice was flat, no spark. "Sit," I said, pulling out his chair. "Let's have a nice night, okay?" We ate in silence, the clink of forks deafening. I tried filling the void, chattering about a work project, the neighbor's yappy dog, but he nodded absently, pushing pasta around his plate. Finally, I snapped. "Alex, I'm trying here. Can't we move past this?" He paused, fork midair. "Trying how? Dinner doesn't erase what you said." My temper flared. "What do you want from me? I've apologized 1,000,000 times. "Mean it," he said, eyes locking on mine. "Understand why it hurt, but you don't, do you?" "Because you're overreacting." I threw my napkin down, the candles flickering. "It was one night, Alex." "It's not one night," he said, his voice rising for the first time. "It's feeling like I'm failing you every damn day, every time you roll your eyes at my plans, every time you sigh like I'm a burden." "That's not true." My voice cracked, tears pricking. "I love you. Isn't that enough?" "I don't know anymore," he said, standing. "I think we need a break." My heart stopped. "A break? You're moving out?" "Yeah, I'll stay at Mike's for a while." He headed upstairs. I chased him, panic clawing my chest. "You're throwing away 7 years over this?" He packed a duffel, shirts, socks, his camera, calmly, methodically. "I'm not throwing anything away. I'm figuring out what's left." "Alex, please," I begged, grabbing his arm. "We can work this out." He paused, looking at me with something like pity. "I need to know who I am without you pulling me apart." Then he left, taillights fading down the street. I sank onto the couch, staring at the empty table, the candles guttering out. He'll come back, I thought, but the house stayed silent. The next day I tried again, something bigger. I booked a weekend cabin upstate, picturing us hiking, laughing, rebuilding. I texted him, "Surprise, let's get away, just us." His reply came hours later. "Appreciate it, but no, I need space, Em." I stared at the screen, deflated, the cabin deposit mocking me. A week later, I bought him a new lens for his camera. Expensive, thoughtful, wrapped in blue paper. I left it on Mike's porch with a note. "I see you, Alex. Come home." He texted back, "Thanks, but this isn't about gifts. You still don't get it." Each attempt flopped, a brick wall I couldn't climb. Word spread like wildfire. Monday, Lisa cornered me at the office coffee machine, her voice low. "Alex moved out after the barbecue?" I shrugged, pouring creamer. "He's being dramatic. It was a joke." She frowned, stirring her mug. Didn't sound like one. You said he's dragging you down in front of everyone. I'd be pissed too. So you're on his side? I snapped, slamming the creamer down. It's not sides, Em, it's respect. Alex is solid, you messed up. Her words stung, a splinter I couldn't dig out. Friends drifted, texts slowed, invites dried up. Thursday, my sister Claire called, her tone sharp. Emma, what the hell, Alex left? He's sulking at Mike's, I said, picking at my nails. He'll come back. Will he? You humiliated him, own it? Lucky? I scoffed when she said I'd been lucky to have him so long. He's the one bailing. It's not nothing, she sighed. Fix it before it's too late. Emma grapples with the fallout of a broken relationship after a rash comment pushes Alex away, leading her to self-reflection and personal growth as she learns the value of quiet love. I dug in, stubborn. He'll come around. But the doubt grew, a weed choking my certainty. At a happy hour, I vented to Jen, a work friend. He's punishing me over one comment, I said, sipping a martini. She tilted her head. One comment? You've been restless forever. Maybe he's tired of feeling like the bad guy. Not you too, I groaned. Just saying, she shrugged. People saw it coming. The social fallout hit hard. At a neighbor's potluck, I overheard whispers. Emma's the wild one. Alex couldn't keep up, and felt the sting of judgment. Our world was splitting, and I was the villain. Alex stayed at Mike's, and rumors trickled back. He was hiking more, snapping photos, smiling again. I was unraveling, sleeping badly, snapping at coworkers, staring at his empty side of the bed. I texted, "Can we talk? I miss you." He replied, "Not sure that's smart." Please, I begged. He agreed to coffee. At our old cafe, the air smelled of espresso and cinnamon. I fidgeted, hopeful. I was wrong, I said, twisting my napkin. I shouldn't have said it. I'll change, Alex. He looked at me, distant, sipping his black coffee. I don't think we can, Em. I've been happier lately. I didn't realize how much I was bending for you. I'm done. My face crumpled. Done just like that? It's been building, he said softly. You want a life I can't give, adventures, no plans. I want steady quiet. We're different people now. Tears fell hot and fast, but I love you. It's not enough, he said. I need someone who sees me, not a project. You need someone who matches your fire. That's not me. He stood, squeezing my shoulder once, a goodbye. I sobbed into my latte, the cafe blurring. Months later, I saw Alex's life bloom online, photos of misty mountains, a gallery show announcement. Someone said he was dating a soft-spoken woman who hiked with him, adored his quirks. It gutted me, a knife twisting. One night, alone with a glass of wine, it crashed over me. I'd been so fixated on what I didn't have, thrills, freedom, that I'd missed what I did. Alex, patient and good, who'd loved me through my storms. I'd lost him with one stupid, selfish sentence. I started journaling, spilling regrets onto pages, how I'd mocked his caution, leaned on his stability without gratitude. In therapy, I unpacked my restlessness, tracing it to a fear of settling, of fading. Seeing Alex thrive drove it home. I'd had love real and rare, and I'd thrown it away. A year later, I sold the house. Too many ghosts in the creaky floors and quiet corners. I moved downtown into a sleek apartment with a view of twinkling lights and threw myself into work. I wasn't the same, less reckless, more reflective. One evening, walking home, I passed a gallery. A framed photo caught my eye, a rugged peak under dawn light, Alex's signature in the corner. Tears welled, but I smiled faintly. He'd found his path. I was finding mine, slower, humbler. Love isn't the next big rush, I'd learned. It's the quiet stuff, the coffee ready when you wake, the hand that steadies you. I'd had it with Alex and let it slip. Now rebuilding, I vowed, if I found that love again, I'd hold it tight, never letting it go twice.